Hello, and welcome to Glow Up Girly, where we are here to help you heal, grow, and glow. I'm Rosie, your local auntie. You can call me TT Rosie or just Rosie if you want to. So, today's topic of discussion, we are going to find out 5 topics why you could possibly be in a toxic friendship. We're women, so of course we have friends. Some of us have more than others. Me myself, I only have about 2 friends that I'm like really close with that I've known for several years. But some of us have a lot of friends. Some of us have what we call friend groups where we hang around maybe a group of girls or even guys as well. And sometimes our friendships we clash. And it's important for us to understand when we begin to clash or feel some type of way within those friendships, we really truly need to understand, are these friendships that could possibly last a while, or are these friendships that we need to get rid of? So let's go ahead and get into our topic of discussion. I might look down a few times because I wrote a few notes that I feel are very important for this topic. So I'll go ahead and get into it. So, number one, the first, you want to make sure that that friend is not always in competition with you. If you have someone who I'll give you an example. So let's say you have a friend and you'll say like, oh, I just got a new job, this job pays well, yada yada. And then your friend like, oh, my job pay more, or something like that. I've even myself, I've had a situation like that where I had a friend that, throughout my life, I've had, ups and downs with my weight. And there was a point in time where I was losing weight. So I went to my friend, like, girl, guess what? I lost 17 pounds when I weighed myself. I can't believe I lost 17 pounds. I never lost 17 pounds before. And it came back to me from a mutual friend that she talked about me and said, it said it in a way like, she talking about she lost 17 pounds. And, the way she said it was very hurtful. You know what I mean? So when you have friends like that or so-called friends who make backhanded comments about you, things like that, you really should not look over. Did I look over at the time? Yes, I did. I was very young. I was in my 20s. And even at that time, I felt the way about what she said, but yet I still stayed in a friendship. So situations like that is why I'm talking about this now. I went through a lot of things that hopefully you guys won't have to. But yeah, so that is one sign. If the friend is constantly, if they're always in competition with you, when you do something, they try to one up you, that is a clear sign right there that you are possibly in a toxic friendship. So you want to make sure that with your friends that they are supporting you just as much as you are supporting them. If you feel like the support is only one sided, if you're giving them the support, if they're telling you, oh, hey, I got a new job or XYZ happened to me, I'm so excited about it. And if you're showing them that excitement, but they're not reciprocating, that's definitely a sign that you could possibly be in a toxic friendship. All right, let's go on to number two. Number two is when they drain your energy and they don't feel it. So, one way that you know that the person who you are supposed to be friends with is draining your energy, or what I call an energy vampire, is when after you spend time with that person or after you speak to that person, then you feel a way, but not a good way. You may still think about some of the things that they said. Maybe they had those backhanded compliments, or maybe they actually put you down. And you might not have caught it at first, or if you did catch it, maybe you just, you put it in the back of your mind, but then later on, you thought about what they said. That right there could definitely be a sign. Um, Also, you can have a friend that they come to you whenever they have a problem. Let's say they have a boyfriend who may not treat them right, or a boyfriend, maybe their boyfriend cheated on them or something like that. And they're coming to you and they're like, oh, girl, he said this to me. He said that to me. He did this to me. He did that to me, blah, 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 blah. And they just constantly just unloading on you, just giving you all of their problems, all of their issues. But then when you're going through something, they're nowhere to be found. They're too busy. Or when you are talking to them and telling them about your issues, they rush you through the conversation, or maybe they cut you off while you're talking, or they just don't want to hear it, or they possibly give you bad advice. So it's like you are being that person who you're there for them, you're listening to them and everything that they're going through. You're waking up at 2, 3 in the morning, talking to them, listening to their problems. And when you're going through something, it's like your feelings don't matter, or even they say things to you that are hurtful instead of providing you with good sound helpful advice. That's a sign right there. When you think about energy, think about it as like a battery, right? So when you have a battery, like your phone, right? So you want that battery to stay filled up, and you never want that battery to drain out. But when that battery does drain out, you go ahead and plug it up so you can get filled up, right? So when it comes to friends, are they the friends that are draining your battery, or are they helping to fill your battery up? And you know it. If you pay attention to your body and your emotions, you know when that friend is draining you or if they're lifting you up. If they're lifting you up, you know it because you're happy after you talk to them and you really truly think about that advice that they gave you or that conversation that they had with you. And maybe they said or did something nice for you. Like, for example, you have a friend who they know that you're going through something and they call and check on you. Even if they don't really necessarily need to talk, they might just want to call you or text you and be like, hey, I'm just checking to see how you're doing. I'm just checking to see how you're feeling. I just want to hear your voice, whatever. Those are the type of friends that you want to keep. But if you have those friends who they're not there when you need them, and when they are there, it's like they might as well not have been there because now they're making you feel bad, then that could be toxic. But let me be clear. Now, you do have those friends that they are just honest with you and they are telling you the truth and you just don't want to hear it. But they are telling you the truth out of love, not out of malice or anything like that. And sometimes we get it confused because we can have that friend that is a good friend that really is just telling us the truth and that really is giving us good sound advice. But sometimes the truth hurt and we have to receive tough love. So you really need to pay attention to those types of friends and know the difference between that friend who is telling you that information because they truly care about you and they want to see you through, or that friend who just they're giving you bad advice. So that's something you really need to pay attention to. All right, I'll go ahead and move on to number 3. Number 3 is they guilt trip or manipulate you. All right, so here's the situation, right? So as you get older, sometimes your priorities change. They should change as you get older. So when your priorities change, you change as a person. So, for example, I'm someone who I used to go out, I used to go to the club all the time, I used to party, I used to do a lot of things. I used to smoke, I used to drink. There was a lot of things that I used to do that I don't do any longer. So, at that time, I had friends who we all did the same thing. But as you get older, you grow apart. I started going to church and things like that. And sometimes you'll have those friends who, when they see that you're growing and they're not growing, they want you to stay right there with them where they are. So sometimes you may fall into situations with those so called friends that they may try to manipulate you. They might try to gaslight you. They might try to make you feel guilty about your growth. They may say things like, oh, you don't care about me no more when they want to hang out with you. Or they might even go as far as to say, oh, you think you better than me? Never allow those type of people to have a stronghold on what you are doing with your life. Um, this pastor that I used to have some years ago, he said one thing that really stuck with me even in my adulthood. But one of the things that he said was, if you show me your friends, I'll show you your future, right? So basically, he was saying, be careful of the company that you keep. It's that like that old saying, birds of a feather flock together. So basically, when you get to a place where you become more enlightened mentally, when you start to realize, hey, it's time to start adulting. It's time for me to grow up and really move on and change my life. You are going to have those people that want you to stay there where they are. And that's when your maturity needs to kick in. When you really truly know and realize what your priorities are, you will not let people come in the way of that. So there are going to be times where you are going to have to let your friends go. Because one thing I'm going to tell you is that grown women they don't manipulate their friends. Not real women. You don't manipulate your friends. When you see that your friend is growing and they're changing, to be honest, that should be an opportunity to teach you that, hey, maybe I should reflect. Maybe I should, change some things about myself as well. But when you have that friend that is manipulating you and that is making you feel guilty about changing and about growing, that is a friendship that you do not need to keep. It's okay to walk away from friendships when the friendship is becoming toxic to you, when it's taking your energy, and when it's making you feel more bad than good. All right. All right. So that was number 3. Let's move on to number 4. This is a big one. Number 4 is when you have those friends that talk behind your back. Let me say this. I think we've all done it. I think a lot of us have talked about our friends behind their back, but I think the important key takeaway from this is, what are you saying about that friend behind their back? Are you saying things that you would not say to their face? Because if you are saying things that you wouldn't say to their face, then you could be that toxic friend, right? So, I'll give you an example, right? So let's say that you have a friend and you notice that that friend has been maybe drinking more or taking substances that they most likely should not be taking. And you start to see a change in that person, and you see that, wait a minute, they're not like they used to be, right? So you have an auntie like me, or someone that you trust, that you can confide in, and you go to that person and you talk to them and you say, hey, I'm concerned about this person, and that right there, I would not consider that talking about a person behind their back. I consider that you just being a friend and trying to get some perspective on how to manage that friendship with that person, right? But let's say on the backhand, you have a friend and you notice that they are drinking more or taking substances they shouldn't take. And instead of you confiding in someone to figure out how you should manage it with your friend, or instead of you just going directly to your friend and say, hey, I'm concerned about some of the things that I've been noticing with you. Instead of you doing that, you going to another friend or somebody that may possibly know them. It doesn't even have to be somebody that know them. And you're like, hey, she been popping pills, she been doing this, doing it, and you're just talking about the person, but you are not taking any steps to help them. You are that toxic friend. And if you are a friend that's going through something or have something that's going on, and you start to hear that your friend is talking about you, especially if what is coming to you is things that only that friend knows, that's a clear sign that you need to reevaluate your friendship, because a real friend is not going to talk about you. I'll tell you just a quick story, and I still remember this to this day. In middle school, I had a friend, and mind you, we are in middle school, and my friend in middle school was doing things with boys, and with older boys that she should not have been doing. And when she was telling me those things, just in my mind, I'm thinking like, she too young to be doing this. Why is she doing this? And I talked about her behind her back to another friend, and she found out about what I said, and her feelings was hurt. And we had a fight in class, a fist fight. And I would never forget that. And I was very wrong about that. And, later on, years later, I've seen her a couple of times in passing, and she was so sweet, just the nicest, sweetest person. And I'm saying that story because part of this channel is about growing up. So part of our growing up journey is growing up, right? So that means that we have to face hard truths even about ourselves. This channel is not just about us saying this person did you wrong, that person doing you wrong, but what are you doing yourself, right? And so myself, I learned that lesson a long time ago that, like her feelings was really hurt when she came to me and she heard that I was telling people about the things that she was doing. She was very hurt. So she was more hurt than angry, right? So that taught me a lot even back then about, how to be a friend. And then also realizing that the things that you say, it can get back. So that's one thing that, you should evaluate in your friendships. Are your friends talking about you? And if they are talking about you, what are they saying? Are they saying good things or are they saying bad things? Are they saying backhanded things behind your back or what? So things like that is what you need to evaluate or reevaluate. All right. All right. So lastly, number 5 is your friend is toxic when they are only around when it benefits them. Do you have a friend who they're here for the party, but they are not here for the pain? That's a sign right there that that person they could be a toxic friend. But let me clear it up, right? So you could have a friend that you may not talk to them often, right? But whenever you do talk to them, it's all love. You can have that friend that you both are busy, you're living your lives, right? But when you want to celebrate something, or if they want to celebrate something, you come together. Or if you're hurt or you're sad about something, or if they're hurt or they're sad about something, they can come to you at any time and you're there. You can come to them at any time or you're there. And so friends like that, I would not call them sometime you're a friend that's only around when it benefits them, because sometimes, especially as you get older, you have busy lives. You and that friend, you guys probably have a lot going on, but you are there for one another when it counts. So that's not what I mean, because you can have a friend who you haven't talked to them in months, but then if they call you, hey, what's up, y'all picked up where y'all left off. That's not what I'm talking about. The friend that I'm talking about is that friend who, like I said, they're there for the party, but they're not there for the pain. They're there for all, if you want to go out of town, or if you want to kick it, or if you want to do something fun. But when you are struggling, when you are going through something, maybe I don't want to say, if you want to borrow money, because that's a whole nother situation, but it could be if you've loaned them money, and you loan them money, and it's never a problem. But then when you need to borrow money, it's a problem. Or maybe, for example, maybe you need some food. Maybe you ran out of food out your house and you need something to eat, or maybe you and your kids need something to eat, and you like, hey, could you give me some groceries or whatever? They don't have it for you, but you always have it for them. You know what I mean? So being in a friendship, it's a two-way street. It's not just a one-way street. And when you find yourself just always pouring into that person and giving, and they're only around for the good times and for the fun times, that's a prime example on being a toxic friend. Because a real friend is going to be there for you. That even if you might call them and they don't answer, they get back to you. They don't just leave you hanging. You know what I mean? If you reach out to them, you let them know, like, hey, I'm really going through something. This happened, that happened, that happened. I just need somebody to talk to, and they don't even respond back. They don't even come back to you. That's letting you know right there that that person, they're not for you. They're not. And it's okay. It's okay. So, being in toxic friendships, and it's part of growth. It's part of you realizing what's for you and what's not for you. So it's okay to let go of some of those friendships and those relationships. I'm gonna tell you guys something. Sometimes I don't know, if you believe in God or not, that's up to you. But me personally, I feel that sometimes God is going to move people out of your life on purpose to give you room and space to grow, right? Because if you're constantly around toxicity, negativity, people who want to remain stagnant and not grow and not do nothing and not move in their life, what do you think is going to happen with you? You know what I mean? You want to be surrounded by like-minded people. You want to be surrounded by people who pour into you the same way you pour into them. You want to be around people that fill your battery up. You want to be around people that lift you up and not put you down and not let you down constantly. I know friendships are not perfect, but when you are constantly being the one getting the short end of the stick, when you are constantly being the one thinking about what this person said or did to you, that's a clear indication that you might want to reevaluate that friendship. But what about when you do decide that's it? That's enough. I don't want to be friends with this person anymore. It's up to you as an adult to determine how that exit is going to happen. Are you going to just flat out stop talking to that person and not say anything to them? Or are you going to have a conversation with them? You know, I'll leave that up to you, but just know that communication is key. And sometimes it's good to have those conversations with a person. And even through that conversation, that can help you to confirm if you do want to continue that relationship or that friendship with that person. So I think a lot of times we, just don't talk to a person just because we don't want to deal with that tough conversation. But that's not always the case. Sometimes we just opt out and say, I'm done because enough is enough. So it's really up to you to determine that. But I say all that to say this: evaluate those relationships that you keep, because if you're going to grow, you need to grow around people who want to see you succeed, right? I thank you so much for joining. If you found value in this topic of conversation, or maybe if you agreed or disagree with anything that I said, leave some messages in the comment. Let me know if you agree or disagree, or if there's more to this topic that you would like to discuss, or if you have other topics that you would like to discuss, please let me know in the comments. And also, like, share, subscribe. I really want this channel to grow so that we can grow and glow and heal together. All right. So I'm your local auntie, TT Rosie. And if you like this video, then you might want to check out this video where we talk about signs that you may need to let go of some of your family members as well. Thank you for joining. Bye.